What is up, survivors? We are back again with another mod review, and for today's mod review we're going to be going over Eco's organic saddles. Now typically these mods for each of these animals that we're going to go over is a separate mod, but we're kind of doing all of the ones that are currently out right now, and we'll have a link to the collection in the workshop so you guys can check that out. Essentially what this is going to do is add some really crazy saddles, but we're going to go over it starting with the Baryonyx. Now again, all of these creatures will be its own separate mod, so you have to load them independently, or all of them if you want to have all of them. But let's just go over a couple things real quick. What you are going to need is these eco crafting tables, right? So and each one is corresponding to the animal that we're talking about. They're auto unlocked at level 1 and they're really simple to make. It's just fiber and stone. And a lot of these saddles, the base version is very easy to make. So let's go over it. So we got 4 different types, and this is universal throughout all the different types of creatures that we're going to talk about. There's an aquatic version, arctic version, ember version, and a jungle version for all the different saddles. We'll also notice that a lot of the styles kind of play into each other to kind of tie everything in, but these saddles look absolutely great. So let's start with the actual crafting bench for the Baryonyx saddle. So the Baryonyx saddle crafting station looks like this. We pop it open, you'll be able to make the saddles here. You can make the primitive version, which gives you that 25 armor for just fiber, hide, stone, wood, which is pretty universal with everything but the Rex that we'll talk about later. But then you also have the Ascendant version, which gives you a whole bunch of armor. But you usually need some sort of trophy in order for these to work. In this case, you need Alpha Raptor claws, but then you need the regular saddle on top of it. Once you have all those together, you can crank out an Ascendant version of these saddles too, which I really like because these saddles are gorgeous, but if you want the extra armor benefit, you can still get that too, so functional as well. These do have their individual abilities too. So this is the aquatic saddle. This is what you're typically going to see, usually these colors. And again, when we go over the creatures, the theme will kind of, like, all the aquatic saddles kind of tie into each other. They don't look exactly the same, but they tie in, which is kind of nice if you're running this mod and have a bunch of different types of creatures with the same generics, with the same type of saddle, that they still kind of match up. But anyway, here we are on Baryonyx, and as we can see, we got like the barrel, the baskets with clams, and coral, and all the crystals. I mean, honestly, I think this mod in and of itself on like crystal owls would be absolutely perfect, but you could run this just about anywhere. Awesome. So it changes the color scheme up a little bit. So this typically isn't the color. This Baryonyx, so the saddle does change the color of the animal as well. So definitely keep that in mind. But you get these cool little aquatic schemes with it, and it looks great. What this aquatic saddle allows you to do, it allows you and the Baryonyx to breathe underwater, but then it also gives you a 2.5 faster movement speed while you're in the water too. So making this thing already beast in the water makes it even just beastlier. The color scheme works great with it too. I think it looks awesome. Definitely more of like a crystal owl sort of feel, but again, I feel like you can kind of run it anywhere in conjunction with some other things to make it really work pretty well. I dig it. I think it looks great. I think all of these do, really. I'm really excited about. This is one I've been keeping my eye on very closely. I was waiting for a bunch of them to come out so I could do a bunch of them at one time. Moving over, we have the Arctic. Now, this is kind of typical with the Arctic. You won't always see these deep purples in the Arctic, but you will see the same kind of style wrapped around it. Same sort of baskets on the saddles. Same sort of floor, just different colors. Then we have the crystals. These are more of like an ice shards that are going down the back of the tail, and then the cool crystals going in the basket. This is just so neat. So that is the Arctic version. Now the Arctic version increases your cold resistance while you're mounted on the saddle, essentially. So Arctic saddles, all Arctic saddles are going to do this. So you're going to get an increased cold resistance, which makes it even better in those cold environments. You can use an animal that wouldn't necessarily be all that helpful. I could see the berry being really useful in colder water biomes now with a saddle like this, being able to keep you a little bit warmer, and then being kind of ruthless in the water already because it's a berry. Going over, we have the Ember one, which pretty much does what you think it would do. It increases your resistance towards the heat, extreme heat, making this guy really fun for like the volcano adventures. But as we can see, we get this dark, almost like obsidian growing out of the tail. We get the obsidian in the baskets here. It's kind of all blacked out, black and red, looks great. And we get the cool like flora that we usually see in like kind of like the red volcano biome of crystal owls. Really, I think this is probably heavily inspired maybe by that one, but they look great, fantastic. And again, they all kind of tie into each other. I like that. I like that a lot. And then across all the creatures that we're going to talk about, the styles look absolutely great. Moving over to the jungle style. The jungle increased melee damage, but only when you're like seated on it, right? So if I put this saddle on this guy and have him on follow, he's not going to get the real buff that he's going to get if I'm riding him. So riding him is really where you're going to get that buff from. It's kind of cool. We got the eggs in there. We got like the mushrooms. I really like the tail on this one too. The actual like almost looks like wood growing out of the tail. Oh my god, the horns on the top look great on this one. I love the wood growing out of the snout and everything. It looks really neat. Very swampy jungly. This screams like what a Baryonyx. It's perfect for the Baryonyx, right? Very swampy, organic jungly. And you, sir, or miss, are laying quite a lot of eggs over here. You know that? Busy. Very busy. Anyway, looks great. You get the melee damage on top of it, but only when you're riding it. You get a melee damage buff, and it looks phenomenal. I love this one. This one like screams like if you were building in the ruins of a swamp. Like this is what you want guarding your front door. It looks absolutely gorgeous. But anyway, this is the Baryonyx. So again, this is one mod. So this is Equus organic saddles for the Baryonyx. Each one of these is independent, but again, we'll have a link to the whole collection in the workshop. So you can check them all out at one time if you want to. Moving on down, we have the Equus. So all of these benefits that we've been talking about are universally the same as well. So the aquatic, the arctic, the ember, the jungle all still do the same thing for you. So you're still getting the same benefits that you would get out of the other saddles. It's just on a different creature is what we're getting at here. So let's start with the arctic for the crafting table first. So we have the crafting table here. And then again, you can create the regular one or you can create the ascendant one. In this case, you need alpha raptor claws in order to make this one happen. All of these saddles, like I said, with the exception of the Rex, you just need fiber, hide, stone, and wood to make. And then obviously with the ascendant, you need that plus the trophies or whatever. But that's pretty much it. So I mean, they're not hard to make. It's pretty easy to make, which also is really helpful as well. This is the aquatic. I like the style in the head and the mane on this one. It looks crazy, like the little reeds and stuff growing out of it. Oh, I didn't even notice that on your head. It's like a coral rose almost on its head. I didn't even notice that. You're like a sea dragon horse. A sea dragon horse. That's what I'm gonna call you. Sea dragon horse. Looks fantastic. I love it. I think it looks great. Even the tails get redone on these guys as well. Obviously pretty cool. Very aquatic, obviously. Having the aquatic saddle on an Equus really intrigues me with the idea of being able to travel underwater, and because with this, you and the Equus can breathe underwater, so you don't need oxygen. It makes me wonder with the kick option, if you were to get like a crazy meleeed Equus, if you could start knocking out ocean life with this and taming with it. It would be absolutely hilarious. Plus, I want to know if you can like lasso people and drag them through the ocean. Anyway, the Arctic saddle, which I'm noticing with the Arctic, anyway, it definitely has more of like a northern light sort of theme. Like you're almost getting a space vibe from these guys, but it looks great. The saddle on this one's pretty neat. It's actually ice. Let me hop up here so you can see. The saddle's like just like a sheet of ice, which would make for a cold Tuchus, one would think, but apparently it doesn't. So anyway, does the same thing, adds your resistance to the cold weather, but that's pretty much it. And then as well as, obviously if you make the Ascendant one, you get a better armor, but I like the style. I like this I don't know what the word is for it. It's on the tip of my tongue. This scroll work that's going on across the face. It's almost like an elegant war paint, kinda. Looks great though. I dig it. And then we got like the flowers in the back and all that style running around. Very Galaxy-esque. I really like this style. That Galaxy sort of spacey Northern Lights, a sort of Aurora Light sort of looking vibe. It looks awesome. This might be one of my favorite ones though. The Ember. So the Ember looks like this thing just straight out was born in a volcano. I love it. It looks vicious. It looks angry. The big red, molten red demon eyes. I think it looks fantastic. The tail is absolutely bonkers. It reminds me of the plant life that you usually see on Crystal Isles, and now I'm stuck between you two. But looks fantastic. Then moving over to the jungle. The jungle might be my favorite style. I'm a fan of green. We all know that, but the jungle style on all these saddles might be my favorite ones as well. You still get the cool work. You get like some leafy sort of druid nomadic sort of look going on. This looks fantastic as well. And again, you get some more damage out of this guy as well. So that is the Equus. Again, separate mod, but we're going over everything here. Moving on over, we have Parasaurs. So I really love when people show love to animals that not a whole lot of people use. So I really like being able to see this. So the aquatic one has kind of like these crazy coral and reeds coming off of it like we're usually seeing. I love the design in the hide actually, because this doesn't change the color of the creature itself. I love the color work in there. It looks great. And we got like barnacles and shells and stuff growing off of the crystals. Looking fantastic as usual. Going over to the Arctic version. So the Arctic version, again, you get kind of like a Northern Lights vibe off this guy, which I think is still great. But we also get like the ice shards growing off the tail, and some cool stuff on the head as well. You get all that neat stuff. I like the color choice, the color palette choice in here is really what drew me. I skipped the bench, but that's the crafting bench as well. And again, you can just make the regular saddles or the ascendant ones, still needing Alpha Raptor claws to do that. You know, I can't remember if we need Alpha Raptor claws for all of them, but we'll go through and check them out just in case. We have the Ember with the fire crystals coming out, the red crystals, the obsidian in the baskets. This looks awesome as well. It's like obsidian growing out of the tail. The growing out of the tail like that looks really neat. That worked out really well. And it just like, it moves really well. It doesn't seem choppy or clippy. Like, and it animates with the body really well. It's really smooth. The jungle one of the Parasaur might be another one of my favorites too. It's got the cool canopy, kind of like the special thorny dragon saddle we saw. The skin with the canopy on it, so you get a cool little canopy and all this brush and ivy growing up the sides of it. It looks cool, mushrooms and stuff growing out of it. Really dig this one as well. We're gonna scroll over to Raptors. So we have Raptors as well. Again, we get the Raptor place to build the saddles at. Again, Alpha Raptor claws to make the ascendant versions. And this, it would be your aquatic version, which, you know, eyeballing me. I feel like you're, listen, I'm just trying to tell people how nice your saddle looks. You don't need to look at me like you're like I'm lunch, okay? Not that serious. The color looks great on these guys. Again, I love the color palette choice. That's your aquatic. Moving over to your Arctic color scheme as well. We get all the, and as you can see, the style is kind of the same, right? If we're looking at the Bary and the Raptor and even the Equus and the Parasaur, the style looks the same. And at first, I mean, I guess I could see where somebody could say like it's not, maybe they would complain that it's not original enough between the different animals. I kind of like that. I like the fact that if I had all of these mods loaded at one time and I wanted to go with like a cool like volcano scheme and all of these guys had the crazy Ember saddles, I'd want them all to match. So I want some uniform to it. So anyway, just my 2 cents for what it is. I think it looks great. I think it works really well together. Again, that very Aurora Northern Light sort of look, and you get the ice shards growing off of him. We got the Ember Raptor that I really like. This is another one that I really like. The reds, like that tribal reddish sort of color scheme going on. This guy looks really cool. And of course the jungle one I'm a huge fan of, right? Of course I'm a fan of you. Why wouldn't I be? You look amazing. You look amazing. The Raptors do have like little baskets, like I have eggs on there, and you have the obsidian over there, the crystal. Yeah, it's pretty uniform with the baskets of what you're gonna see in there. I really, this might be another one of my favorites actually, is the jungle Raptor saddle. Moving on over, we got Trikes. Never fails, always raining when we're out here. Always happens. The Trike crafting table is right here. And again, same thing, Alpha Raptor claws. And to make the ascendant version, we have the aquatic version right here. So I'm gonna hop back up on him. We can see the cool baskets that are going on with the clams, much like the Baryonyx and like the other animals. Scrolling over, we have the Arctic version of the Trike here, looking gnarly. The Ember Trike looks pretty cool, like this molten lava-esque looking thing. I think this looks better than like the X-Trike version. Like the color scheme of the Trike itself looks, to me, it looks 10 times better than that standard X-Trike that we see in like the Volcano on Genesis. I think it looks amazing. And then we have the jungle here, which of course I dig. I love the little touch of oranges and highlights in there. Fantastic job as always. And last but not least, the T-Rex. That's right, we got T-Rexes. So let's go over those guys. We got the T-Rex crafting station over here. And these are pretty much the same. Okay, so they actually are all Alpha Raptors. So you're gonna be hunting a lot of Alpha Raptors to do this. The only thing different with the T-Rex saddles that you'll notice is that you do need metal bars to actually make these guys. Instead of stone and wood, you'll need metal bars, hide, and fiber to make them. Starting with the aquatic version of a T-Rex. I don't know. T-Rexes move so slow in the water, I don't know how helpful this would be to be able to hold your breath forever with the T-Rex, but the idea that you get is pretty cool. These corals just kind of waving around look so great. It's kind of creepy at the same time, but it looks fantastic. Let me jump up a little bit so you can kind of see, like, everything's like moving around as if it was underwater, which is pretty awesome. And you have these cool little Shards coming off the tail and like the coral growing off the head. It looks like the T-Rex has kind of got like a snout update too. Like the head looks bulkier on all of them, like it's almost like an extra armor plating going on, which I think is pretty neat. But that's the aquatic T-Rex. We have the Arctic T-Rex, which gets more of that icy. This definitely still has that Northern Lights feel, but more so like it came from the crazy island from Crystal Isles with all the corrupted or the liquefied animals on it. I feel like that's like straight out of where it came from, and it looks fantastic. The ice over the snout, the crystals. It looks like you have like crazy frozen logs on the back, and man, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, moving over, we have the Ember. Which, the other thing I noticed with the Ember, the jungle is the same way too. Like, it actually has like a wrap going around its foot, which the Ember looks like this is like the part of the trees that you would see in Crystal Isles, maybe a little bit. Or just like kind of just a burnt tree in general, kind of wrapped around as almost like some sort of foot guard, I guess. I guess when you really got to kick something. Imagine with feet like that, you probably do a little bit of kicking. Anywho, so you get that molten lava look on the T-Rex, which again, I think I'd like better than this traditional X T-Rex variant, to be honest with you. We have all the crazy wood being stacked up in the back, the wraps of barbed wire, not barbed wire, I'm a mess. The briarwood all around the back, and then growing down the tail, which looks great. The jungle, this one might be another one of my favorites too. Again, you know I'm partial to greens, but the jungle themes in here just look absolutely great. We get like this weird, well not weird, but like bronze ruinish sort of skull helmet on top of it, and then you get all this storage and stuff on the back, as well as like the log gathering stuff. I dig these. Man, I dig this mod. These mods are fantastic, and I was waiting a little while. I've been watching these, I'm keeping track of them. I've been waiting for to get a good group of them out to do a mod review kind of on a bunch of them. I think this is amazing on a whole lot of levels. Obviously, if you want some different looking saddles, very themed saddles, depending on where you're building or what you're doing, PvE, RP sort of environment, this is absolutely perfect for that. And again, I would say, especially if you're playing on something like Crystal Isles, something very bright and vibrant and colorful, these saddles really match up really well with that sort of landscape. But like I said, I think you can make it work on just about any one of the ones that you're playing on. I would definitely recommend it. I mean, it's kind of got everything. You got your regular saddles, plus you can make the Ascendant saddles, which is so much better. I love seeing some of the saddles and mod updates for creatures, but because I like being able to see a saddle that not only looks great, but it's also functional, and being able to make the Ascendant version makes that functional. Like, if I want to breed a bunch of really angry T-Rex to go in a boss fight, I can do that, and then make them look as cool as this. So, I'm a fan. It's Eco. I'm always a fan. You guys know me. But we haven't done an Eco mod review in a while, so I figured we would put this one out here so you guys can check that out. But that's it, guys. That's the Eco's Organic Saddles. Again, we'll have a link to the Steam Workshop in the description of the video so you guys can check that out. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you all on the next one.